All right, so welcome to the webinar to improve your LinkedIn and Handshake profile and also enhance your experience with these online platforms. My name is Michael Sokoto. I'm the Assistant Director of the Career Development Office, and I am here with...
I'm Lee Schroyer. I'm Employer Relations and the Internship Coordinator. I also wanted to say thank you all for taking time out of your vacations to spend with us today.
Woohoo! Wonderful. So the first platform we'll be discussing today is our Handshake platform. So one thing that I definitely like to ask is how often are you utilizing either Handshake or LinkedIn or any other source of professional platform, online platform? How often are you utilizing these tools? And please feel free to just respond on the chat box. This way we kind of get an understanding of what type of information we should really focus on during the webinar. But what I really like to tell students about handshakes, or about Handshake, if you haven't heard or utilized this before, is that LinkedIn is a global professional network. Handshake, I tell students, is a private professional network between the university systems. There are various universities throughout the entire nation that have Handshake, and we'll briefly go into that a little bit later, but it distinguishes you from the entire rest of the world. Would you say, Lee?
Yeah, we'll go into some of the benefits to Handshake, but this platform is really limited to just people who are in school or have graduated from either an undergraduate university or graduate university. So, yeah, it's not as broad as LinkedIn, but it's more targeted towards you.
All right, so what is Handshake? It definitely is a university online recruitment platform for employers. And this is an extreme benefit to employers. Many of you know other type of job posting websites like Indeed or Glassdoor. So what makes Handshake such a difference for employers? One, it gives employers an opportunity to market their brand through different type of events and webinars that they're able to facilitate through Handshake, and Lee will discuss that later on. But also, it gives employers access to a population that is tailored fit to their needs. And it also, due to research, that university recruitment gives top organizations a competitive edge against a lot of their counterparts. So employers are able to use filters and really access students or graduates that they're extremely looking for. Filters in skills, filters in interests, or even filters in what type of majors or minors that you may have had. They're able to utilize those filters through Handshake to recruit some students.
Yeah, one of the advantages for employers using Handshake too is that it's another one of those filters. They can actually target specific schools where they know students have the skills and programs that are targeted towards their industry. So it's really a benefit for those employers to be able to get exactly who they're looking for.
Exactly. So then, if some of you haven't heard of Handshake, I just briefly wanted to cover the overall national impact of Handshake. As of today, there are over 700 universities that are utilizing Handshake within their career services department or workforce development department. At the state school level, the liberal arts, the tech, private schools, public schools. Usually, a lot of the universities and colleges across the nation are utilizing Handshake. There's about 300,000 plus employers, and every single day there are more and more employers posting jobs and opportunities from internships to full-time and part-time positions on Handshake. And lastly, there are about 14 million students and alumni that are currently utilizing Handshake to look for new positions and advance their careers as well. So a great thing about Handshake is if you learn how to utilize it to its capacity now as a student, then as an alumni, when you're ready to advance your career, or even if you're in the midst of a career transition, you can utilize Handshake to look at and search for opportunities that may be available on the platform.
Yeah, and you can use it too, even after you graduate. Alumni use it to search for positions too. And when we're approving positions, we keep that in mind that even though they may be a director position that a recent graduate might not qualify for, it may be something that our alumni qualify for. One other thing I want to mention on this slide too is that the 7Cs, the 7 Claremont colleges, were one of the test schools for Handshake. So we have a really well developed profile of employers on our campuses through Handshake. So there's a lot of employers that are available to students on Handshake. We have over 6,000 local governments, federal agencies, a lot of nonprofits use Handshake to recruit students. It's a free resource for employers.
Yeah.
So nonprofits are really able to take advantage of that, and the same goes with the educational field. A lot of other universities use Handshake to post teaching positions or staff positions as well. For CGU employers, we have over 1,000 and counting. I think I add probably 50 to 100 every week or two. So we've got a lot of employers here represented on our Handshake profile. Every employer that requests permission to post on Handshake is reviewed by our office, specifically by me, and I go through a pretty in-depth process on approving them before I release them to the broader community at the 7Cs. We check the experiences of the employees online. You know, we go to Glassdoor and look at reviews. We see if it's the right type of company culture we want our students to be in. We also look if this company is a fit for the Claremont colleges too. If we have programs that fit the opportunities that are going to be available on those employers. I also go in depth and check Better Business Bureau scores to see if there's any complaints on there. So we don't just allow every single employer to come on. I really try to pull back employers that have students have a negative experience with those employers. And all the 7Cs are constantly monitoring the employers and the experiences students have with them. So Handshake is not just a job board. Handshake is the main way that the Career Development Office communicates with students. The emails that I send out, the email newsletters I send out every 2 weeks or every month goes directly through Handshake. You can also look at professional events at all the 7 Claremont colleges. Even though you're a student of Claremont Graduate University, you can attend almost any other event on any of the campuses here at the 7Cs. A lot of those other events might be designed for undergrads. For instance, Harvey Mudd always has a career fair every year, and those career fairs are targeted towards engineering students. However, there's a lot of different organizations that are out there, and the people that are at those tables are not just, they do bring 1 or 2 engineers usually to those tables, but it's usually they also have an HR representative. And though that HR representative may be in charge of recruiting engineers, they may be able to refer you to someone else that's recruiting for your program. So it's a good opportunity to go out to those other events. There's also some companies that don't recruit here at CGU because we have a smaller student pool and they mainly focus on undergrads. But I know that, for instance, Bain recruits on the Pomona campus. Bain is a management consulting group, if you don't know. And they recruit on Pomona, so every year they're out at Pomona, and CGU students are welcome to go down to those events too. You can also use it as a resource guide for your professional development, and we're going to show you some of the resources in a couple slides. And it's also a way to connect with employers. Underneath the employers, a lot of times there will be contacts for people that are actually recruiting for those employers. So those employers also reach out to students through that. So it's really important to have a completed profile and a profile that's up to date. So every time you're taking a new class or you've learned a new skill or worked on a new project, you need to enter that in Handshake so the employers can see that and reach out to you. So I promised we would do a little Handshake tutorial. So we're going to go over to Michael's profile, and he's going to review some of the stuff on Handshake that he's created.
Wonderful. So thank you, Lee. I'll review the profile itself and then also the career center tab, and then Lee is going to review the jobs tab and also the events tab for Handshake. So what you see here is an entirely completed Handshake account, and the way that you will know that is this blue bar here would quite literally tell you that it's 100% complete. From your My Journey to your work experience or academic experience, to even certain skills that you've developed throughout your entire academic or work career. So please don't be shy with the skills, and if you need any assistance in building your My Journey, please come into the career development office so we can work on this together. Your My Journey shouldn't be too long, but it should really focus on either your research topic or your work experience or the skills that you've developed throughout your academic or work career as well. A lot of the profile will be translatable to LinkedIn. So if you already have a LinkedIn profile, then you can just kind of use the same format for Handshake as well. So now with all of that being said, I want to go into a very important tab under career interests. So how do employers find the individuals that they're looking for? And I stated earlier that they use filters. So a way for you to be highlighted once employers are utilizing the filters is to complete this career interest form here. And it's pretty robust from where you want to live, which industries you want to work in, and what kind of job functions you want to be in as well. And it also gives you an opportunity of highlighting when you're going to be graduating as well. So this is a very robust system. It even asks you if you're just strictly looking for internships or full-time positions, part-time, or even on-campus jobs throughout the academic year. We do have a few campus jobs that open up. So if you click on any of these, then you'll receive notifications on up-and-coming job applications that are available to you based on what you've highlighted in your career interests. So now that we're talking about notifications, we'll go here to the notifications tab, and then we'll go here to edit notification preferences. So there are a few topics that you can turn on as far as receiving notifications through your Handshake account. It could be notifications on different events on campus. It could be notifications on jobs that you've applied to or jobs that are newly being posted. Here you'll see employer posts new jobs. I have that clicked on as yes, please let me know when there's a notification. And if I wanted to, I can click on some other ones just so that I get notifications about current events or current employer type of positions.
And be aware of who you are. To notifications, just go to Handshake. You can see above Michael's name on the top right, it has like 7 notifications. So if you know you're not going to check that notifications very often, you're better about checking your emails. make sure you check the email notification as well so that it pops up in your email inbox and you won't miss it.
Absolutely. So when you register for an event or when you're applying to a specific job and you have the notification setting set to remind you, it will in fact remind you. So if you are going to be an active user of Handshake, which we definitely want you to be, make sure to definitely click on those notifications. Now let's go into the Career Center tab. So how do you schedule an appointment with the Career Development Office? Very simply, go to the Career Centers tab, click on Appointments, and then you'll come to this screen. And then all you have to do is schedule an appointment, indicate whether or not you're a master's or a doctorate student or even an alumni. And if you're part of the Drucker School or the Sotheby's Institute of Arts, then you'll click on your tabs here. So let's just say masters. And then we've designed the appointment topic by these 7 topics here, from negotiations to document reviews to even career exploration and planning. Very often, what we like to do is, if you're a new student, whether you've had experience in the work field or not, we love to have our first meeting with you as a career exploration and planning, just so that we can get to know you a little bit better. All right, so let's just click on the career exploration and planning. And then there are these available times here with Michael and Lee. But we also have our director or even some of our student workers who are career consultants here, who are also available. So then you're just able to click on which dates and times best fit your schedule. And then you just click on Lee here for career exploration. And if you're not able to come here on campus, that's fine. We have mobile versions as well through email, phone, or even Zoom. And then just type a brief description of what the appointment's going to be. Click whether or not you're a new student or if this is the first time you're doing an appointment. And if you're a new student, you're a first student, expected year of graduation. And then this is extremely important for our data, is to measure your confidence level in your career development. Because our overall goal here is, by the time you're close to graduating, that you've actually advanced at least 2 bullet points here in your confidence level. And then all you need to do is click request, and the meeting is set.
One of the other things I want to point out, the very bottom box, what you hope to accomplish during your appointment, leave us some notes, give us some tips on what directions you're thinking of or what you would like to accomplish in that first one, in that appointment you set up.
All right.
Well, the other thing you wanted to go through, Michael, is the resources, right?
Yes, completely forgot the resources. There we are. Alrighty, so the resources. You don't always need to come into the career development office to get started on some of your career exploration, or get started on building your resumes or your CVs, or even practice your interviewing skills. So for your career exploration, this career roadmap is a really good one for you. It really highlights what type of positions, what type of industry, what type of workplace environment would you like to work in. This big interview tab here is an external resource that we utilize. It's a webinar resource in which you are asked questions by a person on the other side of your computer screen, and you're able to answer the questions, but in real time record yourself answering them through your webcam. And then you can actually stop the recording and play back your responses, and then you yourself can analyze were your responses clear, concise, or were there a lot of ums or a lot of confusion taking place. And this is what we like to do here at the Career Development Office, is that once you utilize this and you don't know what you're analyzing for, is to schedule a meeting with us so that we can assist you in how you can improve certain areas.
It also gives you some really good tips on little things you might not think of during, well, now the process in most interviews, you go through a a Zoom or a teleconferencing type of interview first. So it's going to give you tips on, possibly getting another camera, how to set up, where to set up your camera, what the perspective should be is. You might want to get another microphone, using a landline to directly connect rather than a wireless that might be not as reliable. So there's a lot of good tips on there you might not think of, especially in that first Zoom interview, which is almost always going to be the first step of any interview process now.
Absolutely. And then just to click in on one of the resources, this is specifically a document that highlights different action verbs that you should put on your resume. And as it loads, that's our director, Christine Kelly. Then you're able to download the actual document. And here are some action verbs for communication and people skills, management and leadership, research and analytics, teaching, whatever it may be. This is something that a lot of our students use in the initial composition of their resumes.
So one of the other resources that I wanted to point out on our career development is called Imagine PhD. I didn't see it listed in this section on Handshake, but it says Imagine PhD, but there's a lot of career exploration in it that anybody can use, not just PhD. If you go to, so I'm sorry if I went too quick on that. Let me go back and I'll show you again. So you go to the mycampus.cgu, you click on career development, and then you want to click on explore, and I believe it's on Inside Academe. Nope. Anyway, Imagine PhD is one of these links.
And it's a website, so all you need to do is type in Imagine PhD on your Google search, and it'll come up.
And I'll tell you what, we'll get the link out to you guys at the end of this webinar. So some of the things I want to go over are the job search and employer search. So if you go to the tab on Handshake on the top that says jobs, it's going to list jobs according to your filters you set up here. So let's say if we were searching for a job from Google, it's going to have a posting of all the jobs that Google has listed right now. Right now they only have one job. We're not really, because this is for a full-time internship, so we're not really in the cycle. Actually, I'm surprised to see that here. It probably means they haven't closed July 31st, so you better apply quick if you want to get that internship. But you can search by company, or you can search by just internships.
You can put the position title up there.
Yeah, so you can type in data analysis, maybe, or data analyst. You'll have a lot of different listings for data analyst positions that are available, and you can add a lot of different filters. You can add where you want to work, the different industries, your major,
and then the CPT, OPT as well. If you're an international student and you're seeking for an internship, you'll click on the CPT, OPT tab there, and all of the jobs that are shown through the filter will be with organizations that accept CPT and OPT.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a job after you graduate,
Yeah.
You can click will sponsor a U.S. work visa. And they found 43 jobs that will sponsor a work visa after your OPT is done.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find one you really like, you can star it here. And then that makes it easy to go back under My Favorite Jobs. It'll list all the ones that you've starred. And I wanted to point out too, you can do the same thing for employers. So let's say I'm interested in working at Disney, Walt Disney Company. So if we've set up our notifications and we select Disney as one of our favorite employers, in just one second. I think I got too much going on my computer.
Yeah.
So Walt Disney Company. So then I can make that my favorite, and it'll notify me if Disney posts a new position or changes anything. So, and under employer here, you can see the experiences that people have had at Disney. You know, their reviews. You can see what the interview process was like at those different companies. They've got 152 reviews. 120 people are talking about the interview process. So you can get a good perspective on what that company is like through Handshake from other students too. Let me see. So one other thing that you can do is you can also check out contacts for those different organizations. So they'll have contacts here. Right here they have a general email inbox. Sometimes it'll be a personal email. And you can search. There's different ways you can also search. If you know someone's working for a company, you can go to a site called Hunter, and that will actually look specifically for somebody's domain email name. So if you're looking for Disney, you can actually look at find someone's email. So this is like the format that their email address is going to be in. First name dot last name at disney.com. But we're running short on time, so we're going to speed through and get to... Okay, so we want to talk about events real quick when this comes up. One of the other tabs at the top is you can look at all the different events that are on all the 7Cs campuses, and you can search by employers or career fair or anything else. And like I said, anything that shows up on here, all the 7Cs are welcome to come to.
So if you scroll down there, this is a conference that the Career Development Office is facilitating on September 6th. So definitely do register for this event, and we'll talk a little bit briefly about that sometime later. All right, so now we're back to our PowerPoint slide, and now we'll just briefly go into LinkedIn, and because of time restriction, we're not going to go into each or in-depth detail of these 6 tips to improve both your LinkedIn and your Handshake profiles. We both, or I guess we all know about high quality pictures. Try not to have pictures with a group of people or a picture of you at a baseball game or at a club, having fun, dancing with a drink in your hand or whatever it may be. A professional picture, dressed professionally, is ideal for both platforms. What I really would like to focus on is to create a results-driven work experience, and that's the 3rd tip there. This is not only true for these 2 platforms, but it's also true in your resume as well. What I mean about results-driven work experience is the recruiters are starting to look into not resumes that are task driven. For example, facilitate one-on-one consultation meetings with graduate students in the planning of their career journey. That's task oriented. Results driven oriented is facilitated 202 one-on-one consultation meetings with students in the planning of their career journey. So there's a number, there's a metric there that is able to be measured. So what it is you stating how you've impacted the position and how you've impacted the overall organization as well. That's what they're looking for. They don't just want to see what your work duties were, but how you impacted those duties. And then we can go into the next. And what we'll do is, since we have a clear definition of each of these tips, we'll send that also through email as well with those who are on the webinar.
One of the things that this LinkedIn profile really differs a little bit from your resume is that you can make it a little more personal. Don't write in your summary paragraphs. You don't want to write it in third person. You want to be more personal about it. State it like our team developed these results and got these results. This is more of a personal expression of yourself. You're trying to get the interest of the recruiter. So it's a little bit less like a resume in that, but it's similar to a resume in a lot of other ways.
Exactly.
First thing you want to be able to do, and this is the same in your resume, is you want to create like a captivating hook or statement line in the very beginning. That's going to catch recruiters' interest and push them to read the rest of your profile. Another thing you can do is you can ask for recommendations through your network. Make sure to go, if you've worked on a project, if you have skills that you've shown with people in your network, ask for those recommendations so they can, it looks much better to employers if you have people that are vouching for you. And that also goes with endorsements, which is a little bit further down in your LinkedIn. If you have a specific skill, you worked on a project with people, have them endorse you for that skill. One of the other things that Michael and I have done is customizing your URL. So don't get that long string of characters that makes it impossible to find unless you copy and paste it. You can go to your profile and create a personal URL so it's just your name. It'll be easy to find and get to.
And then we are also pretty active on some social media platforms. So please do be active with us for, I guess, more an in-depth webinar or video on how to create your Handshake profile or how to create an appointment with the Career Development Office. Please go to our YouTube page. We have 2 videos focused on specifically on that. And then also we have our Facebook and our Instagram page. If you follow us, you'll be the first to know about different events. You'll be the first to know about employers coming on campus. You'll also be in the in circle, I would say, when Lee here goes out to different employer events, conferences, just so that you know what type of partnerships Lee's working on the other end of the spectrum. And then, of course, through MyCGU, you can click on the Career Development tab to get access to a variety of different resources that are also on your Handshake account as well. And then this slide here, this webinar was part of a summer-long series. So please be on the lookout for the next 3 webinars that are set to take place between now and sometime through mid-August. And the best way to know when these are happening is go onto your Handshake account and type in those titles, and they'll pop up, and all you'll need to do is just register. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Handshake and LinkedIn webinar, and we look forward to hopefully one day meeting you soon.
If you have any further questions or you want to tighten up your Handshake or LinkedIn profile, please reach out to us and set up an appointment like we showed you in the webinar. Thanks. See you soon.
Thank you.